Bonjour et bienvenue. Je m'appelle Muskan and today we are back with yet another exciting video of learning TEF in 15 days. So guys, in the last video we discussed what is TEF and what are the different types of TEF. And today we'll be discussing yet another exciting topic, that is the exam structure of TEF. Let's start. Alright, let's discuss a few exam instructions. So first, this exam takes place throughout the year in all the months, so you can take it anytime that you want. But there's a condition to it that you need to remember. You should be 16 or above to take it. Further, you'll be evaluated on Canadian language benchmark level, that is the CLB level, and it is on the scale of 7. You can take this exam either pen-based or you can also switch over to computer-based examination. Let's proceed further with the exam structure. So basically, the exam structure is the same as of IELTS. It has 4 main parts. The first is reading. The second is listening. The third is writing. And the fourth is speaking. And all of them have their own prescribed points. Let's discuss them. The reading has 50 questions and it has 300 points. Whereas the listening has 60 questions but 360 points. Further, moving on to speaking, it is divided into 2 parts, Section A and Section B, where you'll be having 450 points, and writing follows the same pattern, Section A and Section B, 450 points. Now, let's discuss what are these exams and how much time would it take to complete each sort of the exam. Let's start. So further, if you want to discuss about the immigration exam, that is the TEF or TCF Canada, there are 4 main parts to it. As we discussed earlier, oral comprehension, oral expression, written comprehension, and written expression. In oral comprehension, that means the listening, you'll be having 40 minutes to cover 60 questions. In oral expression, that means speaking, you will be having 15 minutes to speak on 2 topics. Further, moving on to written expression, that means writing. Here you will have 1 hour to write on 2 good topics, whereas in written comprehension, you'll be having 60 minutes to cover 50 questions. Whereas for the Canadian citizenship application, there are only 2 main parts, oral expression and oral comprehension, and they both follow the same pattern as that of the one we discussed earlier. But please note everyone, this is very important. You need to take all the exams in just 1 day to be authorized by the Canadian government and authorities. Moving further to a few things that you need to note about TCF Canada. It is only MCQ based exam and there are around 76 questions plus 15 more questions if you are taking the computer based examination. Also, you need to remember it also has 4 main parts. The first one listening, second reading, third writing, fourth speaking. Let's proceed further with the reading, that is the comprehension des écrits. So basically, for reading, you'll be getting 60 minutes, that is 1 hour, and you need to attempt 50 questions in that time slot. And the exam is easy to difficult. That means the level goes A1, A2, B1, B2, C1 and C2. So here, my advice will be kindly attempt the easier sections first. Proceeding further, let's see a few more things. The exam will be MCQ based. That means you need to select the correct options. That's it. Pretty easy, right? And the question types will be you need to select the correct options from passages, posters, images, etc. Moving moving further, we have the listening, that is the comprehension de l'oral. And basically, it's the most difficult section of your entire TEF exam. Wanna know why? Because here you'll be getting only 40 minutes to answer 60 questions. Yes, you heard me right, 60 questions. And the audios are played continuously. You'll be getting 30 seconds to answer each question, and the level varies from A1 to C2, 10 questions belonging to each category. And one important point that I totally forget to cover is that majority of the audios are played only and only once. Yes, you heard me right. Only once. The audios are played just once, guys. But don't worry, we have got you covered. We'll be doing a full-fledged topic where we'll be covering all the listening practices in the sample papers. Further, let's move on to written, that is expression écrite. And basically in expression écrite there are two main parts, section A and section B. In section A, you'll be doing a small task for 20 minutes where you have to continue a story or an article like thing. Here you'll be getting 20 good minutes to write around 80 to 150 words. Whereas in the second task you will be writing a letter about anything for 40 minutes. That means the total writing would be 60 minutes. But here the biggest obstacle that you'll be facing while doing section A is that you need to combine your imagination and writing together. That is how you can succeed in writing part. Last but not the least is the speaking, that is expression orale. And expression orale again has two parts, guys. The first one is section A and the second is section B. In both the sections, you'll be having just 1 minute to look into the document and prepare your conversation. Let's discuss each one of them briefly. So first, let's come to section A. Here, you'll be doing a formal conversation with the invigilator, and he or she will be asking minimum of 12 questions that you need to answer. Further, if you look into it, you'll be having only 1 minute to prepare this total conversation where you need to speak for 5 minutes. Seems pretty easy, right? But for that, you have section B, where you'll be having 1 minute to look into the document to speak for 10 minutes. Yes, 10 minutes. I know it sounds really painful, but that's why I am here. I'll help you out with it, guys. Don't worry at all. In section B, you'll be having an informal situation where you'll be required to convince the invigilator to come along with you to a concert or to any event. That is how the speaking goes. Now, guys, we have a few common difficulties that I know you guys will be facing, along with my intelligent solutions to it. Let's see. The first difficulty that most of you will be facing is the exam is so difficult, how would we clear it? There's nothing like that, guys. The exam is not at all difficult, but the only thing where you struggle is the time constraint. Like for example, I've already told you that for listening, you'll be getting only 40 minutes to answer 60 questions. Further, the second difficulty is the lack of imagination. Why did I cover this point? Because when you are in a situation where you need to write an exam, your imagination totally disappears. So here, my solution to this problem will be kindly practice beforehand. And the last difficulty that you guys will be facing is the lack of your level. Why? 180 hours of preparation is not less, guys. And how did I calculate these 180 hours of preparation? That is your level B2, A1, A2, B1, B2. Or at least it is advisable that you should give your exam after B2 so that you can save some pennies. Let's discuss a few things about TEFAQ exam as well. So here in this exam, rather than having 4 compulsory sections, you have only 2 compulsory sections, namely listening and speaking. And they both follow the same pattern as we have discussed for TCF and TEF Canada. So what happens in the listening practice, you'll be again having 40 minutes to answer 60 questions, whereas in speaking, you'll be having 15 minutes to attempt those 2 sections. Whereas all of them combined together will give you maximum of 14 points in 55 minutes total. And if you again want to take writing and reading, it's totally upon you to add 2 extra points. And the total time duration goes out to be 2 hours 55 minutes. Now you might be wondering, how would you get your test results or how would you obtain your test results? So just remember, when you have given your exam, within 4 to 6 weeks, you will be receiving it by email. But please remember, you will be getting just a single copy of your certificate. Kindly preserve it well. Further, if you want to determine your CLB level corresponding to your score, kindly go to the description below and check the CLB calculator link. You can calculate your result there. In the certificate, you will be having all the 4 results of listening, reading, writing and speaking. So you can calculate it accordingly. That is it for me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. So I hope now you guys know what is the TEF exam structure. Up next, we'll be having DELF versus TEF and what's the difference between them. Till then, I'll take my part off. I hope you enjoyed this video and you find it pretty interesting and informative. Do not forget to subscribe the Language Fluent channel and I'll see you the next time. Au revoir, à très bientôt, bisous bisous.